Going everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a nice day, and we're going to talk about Russell Westbrook and the Nuggets today. Russell Westbrook brings transition to every team he plays on, basically. He's one of the best transition players of all time, even post-prime, and pretty much every team he joins gets those benefits. He grabs rebounds, he plays fast, he himself can push the break, or especially paired with Nikola Jokic, it's just a cheat code with Westbrook in open space as a floor runner and a play finisher. But we're going to spend most of today talking about the half-court offense. That the Nuggets are, according to Cleaning the Glass, shout out Cleaning the Glass, currently the fourth best half-court offense in the NBA, right? So they're killing it in the half court, but what's important to note as well is they barely ever play in the half court. They have the third lowest half court frequency of any team. And what's really interesting is that if we look at the teams who play in the half court the least, it's mostly bad half court offenses. I think of Memphis and Houston as the two main examples, right? Teams who play a ton in transition, have good offenses overall, but aren't that great in the half court. But the Nuggets are an exception, right? They play fast, they play in transition a ton, but they're an elite half court offense as well. The only other team kind of like this is Dallas, who there's just weirdness with Dallas, of course, with the injuries to Luka and Kyrie, but this Westbrook-Jokic connection as of late has been stellar. It took them some time to get going, but the way these two are playing off of each other is really nothing like we've seen from Jokic in his career. He's never had a passer or cutter like Westbrook. They love these simple give and goes right here. Jokic's gravity generally demands two defenders, so Westbrook is simply going to slip behind, get the wide open layup. Or that's not even a wide open layup, but he ends up finishing it for the and one right there. Or we see in this play, they're going to run just a beautiful two-man give-and-go game against Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs of all people. This is more, it's not transition, but it is early offense, which the Nuggets are so good. Sometimes, or oftentimes, they'll invert this, have Westbrook set the screen for Jokic, and what that does, right, that kind of confuses Paul and Wembanyama. Jokic is, I think, literally the best three-point shooter in the league by efficiency, so Chris Paul closes out. Westbrook kind of gets the ball on Wembanyama. Jokic goes down on Chris Paul and gets an easy layup right there. So their chemistry in this two-man game has been incredibly effective. And Westbrook as a oh my god, ridiculous pass. Westbrook's ability as a cutter and a playmaker in space is being fully maximized on the Nuggets in a way that it hasn't been in his post-prime stops otherwise, those being the Lakers and the Clippers, really. Jokic catches at the middle of the floor. They're going to have Westbrook screen and slip into space. And, of course, Klay is going to stay up and double Jokic because they're so afraid. And Westbrook's a great processor. He'll quickly find cutters. He's great in these kind of 4-on-3 advantage situations as a playmaker. That might be where he's honestly at his best as a playmaker. But, again, we see Jokic's three-point shooting a huge thing here. Westbrook's still explosive, still can get downhill, and he forces Zach Collins to drop back and help. But, of course, that leaves open Jokic wide open. He's been shooting the hell out of the ball this year, and I think Westbrook setting him up is definitely contributing to that, at least in some way. You know, not fully contributing to why Jokic has been so successful, but definitely a big, big reason for it, setting Jokic up for these easy shots. Once again, Westbrook just going to get downhill very easily against Chris Paul. Wembanyama has to step over to help. Westbrook's going to pass to Jokic, who drops in a wide open little floater. And, you know, for a guy like Jokic, who has some of the best touch in the history of the league, those shots are effectively layups. And Westbrook's ability to audible and to understand Jokic's gravity, like their chemistry's already grown so much. Is normally what the Nuggets want to do here. They have Jamal screen for Jokic to come up and either set a screen for Westbrook or catch the ball at the high post and go to work. But the Spurs are playing this hard, so Westbrook's simply going to pass the ball over the top into this space while Wembanyama is distracted by the screen. And again, wide open layup for one of the greatest scorers in the history of basketball in Nikola Jokic, all created by Westbrook. And this is just not something that Jokic is really used to, but something that Jokic is used to is passing the cutters. And Westbrook is one of, if not the best cutter he's ever played with in terms of his timing, his speed, his explosion, and just his willingness to cut hard off of the ball and to make himself available. despite his lack of three-point shooting, like he's still not a good shooter, but he makes up for it. And we see this exact same thing happen, except this is kind of in the inverse, right? Remember last time on this play against the Spurs, Jokic didn't even get they I believe they inverted this. Or no, they didn't invert this, but the screener didn't even get a chance. This time, Jokic comes up and this defender, Claxton and Martin, play Jokic, leaving Brown open for the wide open lob. And Brown is such an awesome athlete that he can catch the ball, twist in midair, and finish because of Westbrook's precision passing and his willingness to make passes like this, just lobbing it up in front of the rim. Westbrook to DeAndre Jordan against the Clippers with James Harden in 2025 is just a funny thing. I really enjoy this. This just cracks me up for, whatever reason these guys connecting, and I don't know, DeAndre Jordan in the year of our Lord 2025. Anyways, but Westbrook's such an awesome finisher, cutter. This is a great play by the Nuggets. A very common way that teams will initiate offense that we've talked about on this channel before is they'll run a little dribble handoff flip. They'll pass to Westbrook here. Jokic will come up and set a screen. Westbrook will drive. But the Nuggets know this is coming. Zaire Williams juts out, but again, they know this. They quickly counter with a Jokic flip to Westbrook right here to beat that aggressive defense. And Westbrook's finishing this year has been really remarkable. As you can see, 63.4% at the rim. Remarkably, that is the best of his career. Westbrook has never finished this well at the rim, and you can even see over the course of this season, he wasn't finishing that well at the start of the year, but it's been on a steady uptick as of late as he and Jokic have found chemistry. And I think a big part of this is how many easy buckets he's getting. 48.7% assisted rate, 38.8% assisted at the rim. Last year was more assisted at the rim, but overall, Westbrook has never been assisted on more of his shots in his career. And this is the same for Jamario Pickett. This is the same for Jokic as well. He's being assisted on a career high 71% of his shots coming via assists. He's never had this many of his shots come via assists, and I think it's part of why, actually not finishing as well at the rim this year, but I think it's part of his success and the offensive success of the Nuggets overall is being able to generate more easy shots for Jokic, who oftentimes has to do so much by himself as a scorer. We're again seeing this two-man kind of give-and-go game. Good defense from Claxton here, and Westbrook doesn't end up finishing, but want to focus more on the process of getting here. The spacing initially isn't great, but instead of chucking a bad shot, they just pass to Jokic, flow into the two-man game, and Jokic, because of how incredible of a passer he is, right? He can fit this into a tiny window to Westbrook, leading him into space. I don't know. I mean, I feel confident. I mean, I guess Westbrook played with LeBron, right? But aside from that, I mean, he just hasn't played with a playmaker like Nikola Jokic who can exploit gravity the way that he does. We've seen this same kind of thing so many times late in games. And teams will defend Westbrook with their centers a lot of the time because he's not a shooting threat, and then they can have those centers roam and help off of him to double team Jokic. But because Westbrook is such a good and willing cutter, and for some reason nobody on the Mavs is willing to slide over here, he just gets so many open layups off of teams only caring about Jokic and not caring about what Westbrook is going to do. Again, we see the exact same thing happen right there. They double Jokic in the post. Westbrook cuts off of him for an easy, wide open layup. But the Westbrook thing isn't perfect, and Westbrook's success has been very reliant on the pairing with Jokic. He hasn't been able to carry bench lineups or in a game like this Boston game where Jokic didn't play. If we look at the numbers, Westbrook and Jokic on the floor together right here, insane 125 offensive rating. Ridiculous numbers. But right here, with Westbrook on the floor and Jokic off, a really, really poor 103 offensive rating. It drops by over 20 points. That is a huge, huge difference. And Westbrook simply just isn't equipped to run an offense anymore. I don't think it's really his fault, right? Again, we see the Celtics guarding him with a center in Al Horford who could just drop back and force Westbrook to take contested shots or try to pass into tight windows without Jokic's gravity to open up creases and things like that for him. Like I said, I think this is less of a Westbrook problem than it is a Nuggets roster construction problem because outside, I think, roster construction and just Jamal Murray turning into a pumpkin this year because of injuries or whatever has just been killer for their title hopes, to be perfectly honest. But Westbrook, without Jokic, can kind of go back to some of his old habits. Just kind of speed, playing way too fast, running straight into a defense, leaving his feet and trying to make a play without pausing or thinking. With Jokic on the floor, he doesn't have to do this as much. He can play patient, and Jokic's ability to be deliberate and patient definitely helps him here. But without Jokic on the floor, Westbrook is still prone to these, like, jacked in a fool type turnovers at times, because he's not the kind of creator he once was, and can make these reckless passes when he's forced to be a creator. And it's a shame that this is kind of what it's come to with Westbrook in the non-Jokic lineups. And even in the Jokic lineups, there are moments, especially earlier in the season before they figured stuff out, where teams like, I remember Oklahoma City and Dallas both just really playing off Westbrook, and you can see a play like this. Najee Marshall can easily just sit in this gap and stop Julian Strawther from driving to a box there, because Westbrook's not a shooting threat. Easy closeout. Westbrook takes a really tough fadeaway. He's not a particularly efficient mid-range shooter at this point in his career. He can make these at some points, and it's going to be really important, especially in the non-Jokic lineups, for Westbrook to be able to, like, hit these mid-range jumpers over players, because they're going to give him them. Good teams and good defenses, especially with Jokic off the floor, are going to funnel the ball to Westbrook, take away his ability to make plays for his teammates, which arguably is his greatest strength at this point, and make him, shoot the ball and score. So that's going to be a key thing to kind of point out. But Westbrook's certainly not hopeless on this. He can really post up guys. That's kind of always been a strength of his, and he's leaning into this more as he ages, as he moves towards the twilight of his career. Against a not great defender like Norman Powell, he just easily drop step, left hand finish and one. Just a beautiful play by Russell Westbrook like there. And in early offense, he's still just a monster driver. And of course, that driving in early offense can open up passing chances. Love this right here from the Nuggets, using a non-shooter, Peyton Watson, as a screener, slipping into space. They know that Dallas is going to want to switch this because Marshall and Washington are similar-sized defenders, but Westbrook is too good of a passer and has too good vision to not kind of hit Watson right there and exploit the defense with his ability to drive, cut into the teeth of the defense. We're going to see it one more time right here with him just exploding into a crease. It's not something Westbrook is doing all the time anymore, but it's something that he can do when he needs to. The Nuggets are a team that you can never really count out because they have Jokic. I kind of feel similarly about the Bucks, even though their situation is different. But Westbrook has been a really huge addition for them, who kind of struggled a decent amount to start the year, and I wasn't really sure how this was going to go, but he's really found his stride, and the Nuggets offense has been phenomenal because of it, right? And I think the half-court offensive success, like we talked about, is key for playoff sustainability. As we know, transition frequency drops in the playoffs, teams play in the half-court more, and the Nuggets have shown with Jokic and Westbrook that they can succeed in the half-court together, more than just succeed, right? Lead high-level offenses. So if the Nuggets really want any chance without Jamal Murray playing at a star level, which they unfortunately are probably cooked without Jamal playing at the level that he can, it's going to be with Westbrook as, a secondary offensive option, this complementary piece. And regardless of the Nuggets outlook portion of this, I'm just really happy to see Westbrook in a great spot, thriving in probably I'd say easily the best situation on offense post-prime. And it's just really cool to see. Westbrook's a cool player. He has some, rabid fans at times, but he's such a fun basketball player. One of my favorite players to watch since I was a little kid. And yeah, Westbrook's still doing it in, year whatever he's in. It's been a long career. You're 15, maybe 14, something like that. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a like, comment, subscribe. Still on our way to 10K subs, so hit the bell and subscribe if you like this content. I'll be doing more NBA and draft stuff going forward, so hope you have a great day and you're staying safe and healthy out there.